Hello, thank you for joining me for this video on the Cricket World Cup, specifically with matches in Mumbai. Mm, this is a little bit different than my previous videos. I know I've obscured some columns and some rows. It's a purpose. It's for a grand reveal. I mean, probably you know the patterns. Most of you might know the patterns, but I just obscured it, to see what are the patterns in Mumbai. And this match, it's a match before the World Cup. Of course, since we have bilaterals, you can imagine there are two teams. One team is definitely in India because we don't play quadrilaterals anymore. But this is a non-World Cup match, and I will reveal it at the end of the video. Again, you can see, every team that won the toss batted first, except Sri Lanka and England, and they seem to have paid for it dearly. But if you look at every other team, I mean, even Afghanistan, right? Uh, they their toss is justified. They had Australia on the mat at 91 for 7. I mean, if it weren't for Maxwell and probably some drop catches, I mean, they could easily beaten Australia by 130 runs or 100 runs or 130 runs. It's very much on the possibility the way Australia started. But okay, you could say that Afghanistan made the right decision by batting first, and India also made the right decision by batting first. Now there's a similar pattern to all of these matches. Okay. Now let's start with the India England South Africa match. Right. Probably I I don't know what the sequence was. I think England they lost to New Zealand, and I think they went and thrashed Bangladesh batting first, right? In Lucknow, if I'm not mistaken. I think so. Then they went to Mumbai. Now I still have a feeling the reason they batted first is because they were still hungover from Ahmedabad. That's what I feel, because they felt, it's India. There's a lot of Jew at night, and then we could take advantage of Jew later, and Maharaj and the spinners, they won't be able to grip the ball. We can control the middle overs and what have you, right? Probably they overthought this. And if you look at it, right, they were 170 in 22 overs. They had a 7.72 run rate. That means, yeah, they were right in some regards. I mean, very very mild regards. But what happened? Now check this pattern out. England were 8 for 116.3 overs. But if you notice, they got bowled out in 22 or 21. They got 70 runs in 5 overs. And then in this match, I think Keshav Maharaj was really bullied. And you might say, hey, they were consolation runs, right? But this was at the beginning of the World Cup. I think it was match 10 or 10 or 11 or something like that, right? And I don't think that South Africa were feeling generous, and they were giving what do you call, England runs, the fun runs at the end. It seems like they totally did not have any control in the proceedings for the next 5 overs. And you just have to realize that Rodri Stopley was injured by the end of the innings. So England were not actually technically they were bowled out for 9, but they had one more wicket left. I mean, it, it seemed very exciting, while Wood and Atkinson were playing. And imagine if Butler played the same way. Okay, you may say, yeah, these are consolation runs, right? And yeah, yeah, I agree with you. Maybe I'm reading too much into it. Maybe this was just a fluke innings that Wood played an innings of his life, and then maybe South Africa were feeling a charitable, right? Now let's look at this game, right? Again, it looks like a thrashing, and this 233. One could say you could be right by thinking that, okay, maybe Bangladesh never really got the chase or the start. Maybe they were 90 for 4 in 20 overs. Maybe they're 90 for 2 in 20 overs, and then they just crawl their way to 233. Check this pattern out. They were 81 for 6 after 22 overs and got the next 148 for 4 wickets in the next 24 overs. 81 for 6 in the first 24 hours. And you can't say for two matches in a row that South Africa played, or probably they may played one match in between with maybe with Netherlands that they lost, but for two matches in a row in Mumbai, that they would feel charitable and then they would let the team, you know, sort of like irritate them, mildly irritate them, right? I don't think so. I think genuinely the pitch got easier to bat. And now look at the other pattern right now here, right? Again, the pitch got the Sri Lanka could not even survive for for 20 overs. They could not even put the bat on the ball. Of course, that may be testament to the way Shami was bowling, but you have to also say that Sri Lanka maybe batted poorly. Now, this one, I think we probably know this. If you're a cricket lover, you probably know that Maxwell played the greatest innings of his life. But I have two things to say here. Now, oh wait a second, I know what happened here. Okay, Australia were 94 for 7 in 18.3 overs and got 211 in the next 28. I think we know that already. Now, they talk about Australian dominance and all, right? I think this was the first time I saw Australia were a little bit fidgety. Like I felt they were in the back foot. Here's why. It's just body language and little things I picked up. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, or maybe there's nothing at all. Marcus Labuschagne, when he came into bat, I think it was 46 for 3 or something, right? He was completely fidgeting around the crease. He was just asking. I think they had a delay of 10 minutes. I think 10 or 5 minutes. They were asking somebody to sit down in the Afghan dressing room while a medium height, a bowler of medium height was bowling. They said they can't see the ball when somebody was standing in the Afghan dressing room. I know in Mumbai the pavilions are right above the what do you call, right above the end. I don't know what end it is, but they're right above the batsman's island. But I never seen any batsman fidget around with the pavilion, because the pavilion is above the island, and usually they've designed the pavilions that way. But Labuschagne was fidgeting around. He was animated. He was asking somebody to sit down. It seemed like they were a little bit intimidated by Afghanistan at the time. Maybe I'm wrong, but it seemed that way because they were fidgeting around, and then they were like they were having eye to eye contact. And Warner's wicket, right? Some people might say, hey, Warner was 18 of 29 balls and was not trying to dominate him, but I wouldn't call that domination actually. That I would call that intimidation and then overthinking it, because you feel that you have to get 100 runs in the next 100 runs in 15 overs so that you can control the spin for the next 35, right? But if they looked at the previous patterns, right, in all these matches, the teams that lost, they lost it in the first 20 overs. So this 91 for 3, 91 for 7 could have been 91 for 2. And based on the way based on the way the pitch played out, and based on the way that there's a lot of do in Mumbai, you could say, hey, wait a second, we don't need to be 100 in 15 overs. We can still be 90 in 20 and still win this match. We can chase down even what do you call 7.5 or 8 in the last 20, because the pitch gets very easy to bat on in Mumbai. Now you could say, okay, what happened in the New Zealand match? India still won by 70 runs, but look at what they were chasing, and look at why New Zealand were a lot more successful. Because Kane Williamson did something that nobody was able to do. Sorry about that. Kane Williamson did something that nobody else did until now. Kane Williamson was 4 of 23, but he didn't panic, and then he along with Mitchell got about 181 runs in 21 overs, and then you could literally see that India had no control over what Kane Williamson did. It's all Kane's day at that moment. It's all Kane. There was nothing they were able to. Even the spinners were not able to grip the ball, and they just got after the bowling. And then I think they were 50 after 10.3 overs. They got 116.3, and then you can just do the math, right? 15. They were 36 for 2 in 7.6 overs. They were 15 10.3. That means they got 11 runs in 4.5 overs. Then that means they got 50 to 225. 15 to 220 in less than less than what do you call 25 overs, is it? Yeah, no, 21 overs. Yeah, they got 170 runs in 21 overs. Ooh, that means they were keeping up with the run rate. And who knows? With maybe 30, 40 runs less, they could have New Zealand could have probably chased on against India. So the point I'm trying to make here is that maybe India or South Africa, right? Maybe India and South Africa, maybe they were much better than what they thought because they were beating teams so comprehensively. They thought, hey, we're much better than what we thought, and then maybe they got a little bit overconfident. I think South Africa, they were playing in favorable conditions. They got the pitch, they got the toss right, or they and England may have overthought this probably from hungover from the first game at Ahmedabad, and they let what do you call South Africa into bat. But if England survived, right, they maybe in a 16.3 overs, even if they were like 80 for 2, right, I can still imagine England winning from there. It would have been a very, very close game. No, actually, I mean, yeah, if they were 100 for 2, or let's say they're 100 for 2, right, I can still see England winning it from there because you could chase 9 in the last 10. So 180, you look at 200, yeah, they could still chase it down. It's an easy pitch to bat on, especially at night. And the reason why I'm focusing on these three matches is these three matches actually these three matches might have misled people into thinking that South Africa and India were much better than they actually were, because this pitch is clearly favored the team batting first, and the team batting second were at the mercy of the first 20 overs. So, like play and misses. Like even the Afghanistan Australia game, like if you go at it, right, I mean Afghanistan should have won this game, and I consider Australia did nothing special than the other teams that came before them, whether it's Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, or England, right? They did nothing better than them. But they had Maxwell at the end, and of course drop catches here and there. But still, they had no control over the swing. But if they recognize what Bangladesh had done, if Australia had recognized what Bangladesh had done, they would have known that there would be no swing and the wicket will be easier to play after the 20th over, right? But they fail to recognize that pattern, and then they have the confusion, the run out, and yeah, there was some LBW decisions that probably didn't go their way, but yeah, that's the way. Now, from this Mumbai, right, you draw two conclusions. A, Australia didn't have a good plan with the bat. They were decent with the ball. India and South Africa maybe were deceived into thinking they were much better than they actually were, based on this margin of victories. But the interesting part would have been if if India if India bowled first, right, and then they were able to put them through the grinder in one of these games. I don't think Sri Lanka would have troubled India that much, but if India were lost the toss with New Zealand and they bowled first, and New Zealand got 360, not sure if India would have been able to chase down under the World Cup pressure, because it is very hot, it is very humid, and then teams that bowl first, they got exhausted. I think the only team that I think that played the best here, regardless of the conditions, I think it was New Zealand who played the best in Mumbai. They had the worst of the conditions. They had heat. They had the World Cup semi-finals, but still they were able to get through. Now the enthusiastic Indian cricket fan might say, "Hey, look, I mean, you can't draw conclusions from these matches, right? India played superbly; they were flawless in Mumbai. I mean, why are you complaining about that? If India lost, if India batted second, I mean, now this is what I want to reveal right now. Now check this out. This was like I promised. India won the toss. It was in March 2023. Again, a fairer argument from you is okay. It's in March. The conditions are different, but again, just look at the patterns here. Just hear me out here. Now the Australia batted first. They were playing against Australia, and then this team did not have what do you call Cummins. They didn't have Hazelwood. It didn't have. I think it had Head, if I'm not mistaken. I think it had Head. Yes, it had. It had Travis Head. It had Mitchell Marsh and Stu Smith, Lavashane. You could say second rate India, Australia. Okay, India had completely. India had the same team that they played in the World Cup, minus Sans. I think Rohit Sharma and maybe Sans Bumrah. Okay, now India bat first. The winner, of course, is India, right? Now the winner is India. The margin is like 5 wickets. Okay, just a minute, please. The margin is 5 wickets now. You might think, yeah, okay, yeah. So India won. Look, they were able to even bat second and win here, just like Australia. It looks like a comfortable win. Okay, yeah, you may be right into thinking, but just look at this right now, right? Just look at it right now. How much do you think Australia might have gotten right now? Maybe you think, okay, Australia may have gotten 230. Australia may have gone 230 or 280 or something like that, and India chased out in 40 overs, right? Okay, they had only 188, right? And India chased that down. You could say, okay, maybe they're playing super fast and they lost wickets and they wanted to clinch the game and they finished up in 30. No, India took what do you call about 40 overs, I think. I think about 39 overs. Okay. Now I think, okay, maybe India were like, maybe they lost wickets at the end and they're playing brilliantly, But it's like a deja vu pattern. It's like, look at this. India were 5 for 83 in 20 overs, and and then I haven't watched the commentary of the match, but if Stoinis was able to get 2 wickets and Stark got 3 wickets within the first, they got all the wickets within the first 20 overs. That's it, and they didn't get any wickets after that. Now this pattern seemed oddly suspicious that every team, like now we're talking about India, England, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka, Australia, and even New Zealand, almost 6 teams, right? There's a good sample size, right? Every team that played in Mumbai or batted second in Mumbai in the recent past, they struggled. I mean, with due respect to Stoinis, he's a good all-rounder. I mean, I got his name wrong, probably. Okay, he's a good all-rounder, right? But not somebody who threatens, like 7 overs. I think his figures in that match was 7 overs, 27 for two. In I think probably he bowled all his overs in the first 20. Now it seems like a very it seems like a very clear pattern, right? So probably these results should not have been taken into that much consideration. Yes, in India were playing flawlessly right now, but still India should have been a little bit wary. Hey, we didn't bowl first year, and it was humid and hard conditions. Maybe we got better at the toss. Think probably England should recognize that um, this is not a regular a wicket to bat on. Now, I generally I'm not a keen follower of IPL, but this got me a little bit suspicious, right? That okay, I understand it's 20 overs and all, but most likely in IPL game they have a day-night game where I think the first inning starts at 8 o'clock and ends around 9:30, and the second inning starts around 9:45 and ends around 10. I think 11 o'clock or 11:15, something like that. Something around the train, right? Now, this one seems to follow the similar one-day pattern, right? I think the second inning starts, I think 2:30. I think 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 7:15 is second innings, and 8. Now you can understand that even from only from 7:15 to 8 there's a lot of swing, right? But 8 it starts get ease up. Now in IPL I've seen most of the teams that won in IPL, right? They won chasing right now. No, this may be a little bit odd, right? Hey, hold on a second. You said batting first was better. No, no. But you have to look at the time of the day they were playing in, and then, like I mentioned, right, that it gets easier to bat after the first 30 overs. So in IPL, the team that bats second, right, are likely to have Jew and the ball nicely skidding onto the bat. And then one other question you may ask is, hey, in all games, what was the pattern? What was the proof that it got easier to bat? I have also analyzed in this game what Maharaja's figures was, what here again what Maharaja's figures were, what Jadeja said. This is a small sample size because I think Shami has done most of the damage here. Here what Rashid Khan's figures was, and here what Jadeja's and Kuldeep's figures was. What I realized is that most of the time in this match, I think the spinners were engaged soon. I think Keshav Maharaj got smashed like 2 overs 20, but let's assume that maybe it's a consolation place. In this game, Keshav Maharaj was effective in the first until the first 20 overs. He got 5 overs 11 for 1, and the next 5 overs 21 for 1. And even Rashid Khan, right? Even for Rashid Khan, this game, the same thing. He was all over he was all over Australia in the first when he bowled within the first 21 overs, and after that, despite having only 3 wickets, Australia played him very comfortably. And Maxwell got 26 or 26, and Cummins faced 23 deliveries, and you can see Cummins only had 12 or 68. So you can imagine how maybe he might have got 2 or 3 runs against Rashid Khan. So I mean, and you can see Mujidur and then Noor, right? They got smashed after the first 20 overs. They ball a lot of overs in the first 20 overs, but they got smashed later. So it seemed like a clear pattern. So Mumbai, what do you call, bat first, get a humongous score, and hoping that the openers or the people in the opposition will panic, and then just like Australia panicked, and they were lucky. But great kudos to Maxwell. But you had to understand they were lucky, and they were well on the way to lose by 20 or 30, 130 runs or 140 runs. But you just had to wait in the first 20 overs, right? Bide your time out. So this is why this is what, again, conclusions from the video. I think South Africa and India were led on to believe that they were better than they actually were, because they got on the right end of tosses. Now, if I think Sri Lanka, even if Sri Lanka was smart and then they batted first, right? I don't think Sri Lanka would have troubled India by bowling second. Yes, they would have got some wickets here and there, but India would have been able to restrict them with 290, and 290 was a very much a chaseable score. But you never know. But yeah, so that's what I think. That's what I think happened in Mumbai. Please like, share, and subscribe. I'm sure there must be a lot of nuance to this that I'm missing. They might be, but the patterns, like these patterns, they look strikingly similar to every other match. That's the reason why I think that it was also a toss dependent pitch. Thank you.